install Python 3 on top of this one, and then I'll stop for 10 minutes as a break. Then when we come back, you guys are using the rest of the time to do lab activities and exercise and practice with these ones. And I'll be available. Any question, you just tell me and then we can cover it. So let me just install Python 3.8. As you know, this one is 3.7. So I want to just install it. And this one is under my local directory, but I want to make that Python 3.8 that I'm going to download available to the system, meaning all users should be able to use it. So let me clear my screen here. And the path that is there, Python is already 3.8. 3.7 is there. I'm going to get the 3.8. Excuse me. So python.org, I'm going to go there, python.org, and then go to a python.org website, then click on downloads, and I can also already see 3.8.3 is available for Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, OS X, and other ones. So if you're using a laptop or a Windows machine that already has Windows, you need to decide whether you want to do it for a local directory that you are doing it like this, or you want to do it globally on the system. If you do it globally on the system, you need higher privilege to do this one, because once I'm going to click on here so the download gets started, and now the download is getting started already. So if I'm doing it for the system, I need to open the command prompt in a different privilege access. So let me just do that. Here, if I just type in CMD, if I just click again, open it, it's going to open up with Wahid permission. But I want to right click on it and say open it as, run it as administrator, because I want to write to the C program files. That means I need to elevate that privilege. So in this case, it's going to prompt me, say, do you trust it? Yes, I do. So it opens up command prompt, but notice the difference between the C Windows and this one. So if I just open a new one, CMD here, and just click on it, this one is just going to open up a directory on my local environment, user Wahid, where the system administrator, that the title says administrator, it opens up when Windows System 32. So which means that with this one, I have more access to write to the C program files. So in this one, if I just go to the C program files, then I want to write something, most likely it's not going to allow me because of this. So if I say, so write it to this file, it says access denied. But here, if I go to the C program files, C program files, and then I say dir greater sign T, it created that file. Now type dir is there. So because the permissions are higher privilege, which means now delete this T, I don't need it. So inside here, once I have this executable, which is on my directory under Windows, under users, and then Wahid, and there's a executable file in the download directory, CD to downloads, and then there's an executable called python.exec with 3.8. So I need to be on this window and then execute it in order to just install it on the C program files. So I'm going to say Python -3.8.3.exec. So I'm trying to install it on the system. That way it's gonna take effect with the path. And this one, it gives you an option to say add Python path. So I want to add that path, but then instead of installing it on my default directory, I want to default it on the system. So it's going to just say when I would click on this one, customize, it automatically open up all these other options. So I want to just install all the documentation. I want to install PIP 3.8 version equivalent to it. I want to do the TCL TK idle. Idle is the integrated development environment for Python with this version that allows you a little bit kind of like GUI kind of things, but it's more command line as still. It still give you certain options. We will use the IDE version of uh, PyCharm rather than the idle because PyCharm is more of like a professional version of supporting IDE integrated development environment. In addition, PyCharm comes out with a community version of it. The professional version, you have to pay for the license, you have to buy it, but the community version is free. That's the version that I have, that's the version you should have. It's free and you can have all the nitty gritty stuff that comes with it and still take advantage of it, use it. Python test suite and Python PyLauncher for all users. I want to just do for all users, that's fine. So I'm going to say next. And then this case is going to prompt me to install it on C colon directory. I don't want to call it install on C user Wahid. I want to just do it where I just was telling you the program files. So let me just go to C program files. And then since this is a 32-bit, and this is important, if you go here, you need to know the program files here. There's program files here and then program files x86. This program files is for 64-bit. All the application on Windows that are 64-bit will be installed in here. All the application that are on Windows 32-bit will install on x86. So this is the distinguish between the program files 1 and program files 2, the two of them. One is x86, which is 32-bit. So in this case, I'm going to install it in the program files 32-bit, 86. And then once I'm there, I'm going to copy this path from here and just say edit, copy. And then I come back to this installation, which is, where's this screen right here? This one. This one, I'm gonna just change everything up to here to this. I say install it in program x86 Python and Python 32 version this. So that's good. Then precompile the standard library, yeah, go ahead and install that one. Download debugging sample, yeah, download debugging binaries, all of that when I need it, I could play around with it and have fun. Install all for all users, yes, go ahead, install for all users. Even though I'm the only users, if I just decide to have multiple virtual environment or PEPI and Vs that I will configure later, I could just have it on different accounts or different users, development, operation and so on, and play around for each environment and see how it works. So now this is there. We just say install. The installation is gonna start in a little bit. Sometimes it's just gathering so much information. And once it collects all that information, it is going to go fast on the installation. And how do I know that this is where it's going to install? You see that's this 32-bit right here. That is why I use x86. So if we go back to the directory of C colon right now, I'm barely getting my prompts back. Okay, so right here on the program files administrator. So right here, if I just do a dir, on dir, I wouldn't know because there's so much of this. I have to do a dir of Python. I could do that if there's anything there, or I could do dir o d. This slash O is saying that the option that I want to do is a descending order. So the last files that are modified are showing on the bottom. That's equivalent to like ls minus ltr on Unix or Linux. So since this has not been updated yet, let's see how this is getting this screen. Yeah, this screen setup failed. One or more issue caused the setup to fail. Because please fix the issue and retry the setup. For more information, look at the log file. The system cannot find the path. So somehow it did not find the path. What I could do is say, okay, go ahead, redo the same thing. And let's see, this time I'm gonna just go to the directory system users Wahid and then downloads. I think because of this space, you had to put within quotes. When you have the space, it did not understood it. Either use tilde number one after program, it's 8 characters, or use quote within that, and it's gonna do it. But let me just go to downloads directory, start.executable, and then Python. This one, I'm gonna rerun it. So this time, instead of giving that path, I'm gonna browse through it and then say, go ahead and install those things. And then right here, you say browse, and then go to this directory, program files, C colon program files. And then I could specify this, it will still install it in the program files 32 because that's a 32-bit. Let me just go and say program files 32-bit, see if the system does it for me, or I have to, sometimes the Windows judge it for you. Even though you specify here, it will not work in here, but sometimes it does because it knows exactly that's where it's supposed to be there. So I'm going to do that and then do a slash Python, and then the name would be, I need that information actually, Python something. So I think it was already on my other path. So path, and similar to this one is this, and instead of 3.8, so Python, I got Python 3.8-32-bit. Close this one, cancel this one, and close this one. Okay, let me just find that one. Yeah, right here. And then I'm gonna say Python 3.8-32. So I want to install it there, and then the rest of them. If it fails again, then I have to use program files, and then the system automatically is going to say, oh, this is for 32-bit. I need to install it under program files x86. But if it doesn't fails, then they will install it on the directory where I specified. So this time it's installing it. And since I opened this command prompt, if I look for Python 3.8, it will not be defined there. I have to close these command prompts and then open another one. It will be available automatically because it modifies under the control panel the system environment variables to point to Python 3.8 for and all users first. and whatever path it adds it. If you have two of them on the Python, depending on which version you want to start with, you can go to the specified path and run it. If I need to run 3.7, that I still could do it. And that way, now I have two versions, 3.8 and 3.7. So this is installing it right here. What I'm talking about is like if I look at the path, it is still is for Python is 3.7 there. So for this is 3.7. If I want to just do Python 3.8, it will not work because that is still path to that directory. But program files x86 86 star. This one now it should have a Python directory inside here, which is right here. And then cd to Python, there's a Python 3.832, which is this one. When it gets done, Python 3.32, this executable, this one is the actual Python there. So if I get to run that one opens up 3.8 there. And then now, since my path is still the other version, it's not going to work there. Let's just remember this path. I'm going to open another command prompt. Whether I open it as regular user or as system administrator or anything, I still have this path environment available to me. So there you go, the installation of Python. We look at the original version and now we upgrade it to 3.8. If you don't have another version of Python already on your machine, the first time you're doing it, there's no issue. There's no path. There's no Python path on that environment variable, and there's no binary installed. So you're getting the first version that you download as a first copy. And now, since I had another copy, I'm just doing it just to have the newer version available and show demo how you install Python. And once you have Python available, you can practice with it as much as you want, and then do it. And every session that we do moving forward, next classes that are coming, I'm going to also demo these ones with Linux and OS Solaris modules that is there. That way you could get it. So this one tell me setup was successful. Disable path link limit. Change your machine configuration to allow program including Python to bypass the 260 character max path limitation. So on this system, the max path limitation is there. Since this is really long, sometimes if you just adding more application installment, it just keeps growing, and then it suggests that you need to take it out on the max limit under the control panel. I just have to search for that limitation and then remove it to allow multiple this. So now my path is still there. Python is still gonna just get to the version what I want, since I'm on that directory. But if I just exit out of this and cd to the root and I say Python, it's gonna go 3.7. I don't want a 3.7, so I'm gonna open a new command prompt and then show you the difference. Here I type in a path on the new one. If I get the screen refreshed, path, if you look at this one versus this one, which is taking a long time for a command prompt to come in, path, and then notice this one has x86, most likely somewhere there, which is hard to know. So that's when you do this one greater sign to t, and Notepad T and a Notepad T, and then just look for Python, edit, find Python, and look down this time. And Python here, x86, you can see it installed it on x86. So this is going to find it first, then the next time is going to find the other version, which is 3.7. So since it finds it first time, if I just type in here, say Python, it automatically goes to 3.8 because whatever is on the first in the path. That's why when you're doing it on Unix, some people say, I used to run it with this account, the program was found, but now I'm doing it under my account. It is not doing it. It calls another C program or something else, gets compiled or something. So the LD library path in the path is where it searches for those ones. If the order is supposed to be looking at user local bin, and instead of /opt bin, and then you have two LSOF, obviously the one that is found first is going to execute that one first. A lot of people, they are getting confused with how those path works. It's very easy if you just look at it in the order that you put it on the path. And then same thing with the LD library path on the Unix side. But this is Windows, so we found it and it worked and everything. So here, everything is already there. And we could just look at that hello program. Just with this one, we say Python hello.py. It does the same thing. So the Python codes are reusable. You could do it when you have a newer version. All it is some more features are getting added. You just have to go on the documentation, say what was the difference between Python 3.7 and 3.8. They are using a lot of new features that was introduced, and then you just practice with them and see the differences, see how you could take advantage of it in your programs. So we did installation Python 3.8 works. As you can see here, Python itself 3.8 comes in. So I'm going to quit here. I could also type in here with Python, and then you can see is the 3.7 is there, 3.8 is there. Depending on which one you want, there's Python 3.8. If I want to do 3.8, for example, I could just open up this one. And then this is setup is modify setup. If I want to do repair or something, I don't need to do anything here. Let me just see what is under Python. With idle 3.7 is there, Python 3.8, 3.8 executable, and then manual documentation and so on. So the manual here, you could get that one. And then there's a lot of neat stuff with Python that you could read all these documentations and everything. All right.